Hey friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So the system is against you. That's the subject of today's video. And basically the system doesn't want you to be wealthy. It wants you to be poor and keeps taking advantage of you. But you don't have to fall prey to the quote system. And I want to go into this stuff because I see a lot of this kind of chatter on social media, etc., where people complain about, quote, the man is holding them down, these kind of things. And there's always someone to blame for your predicament. But I don't want you to think in that way. I want you to be active and understanding how the system works. This is sort of why we talk about this kind of stuff on the channel and taking advantage of it and building wealth. So first, what is the quote system? Well, you could call it capitalism, you could call it the markets, whatever you want to call it, or just general business. But basically, all these companies want you to buy something all the time, right? The current products, the current things that you're holding right now are no good. You got to buy something new. So I'll give you an example. Before, I remember when the iPhone first came out, and I like to talk about phones in this channel because we all have phones, and it had like a camera, and I'm like, oh my God, it's got a camera. That's absolutely fantastic. And I never knew I needed a camera on my phone, and then when she gave me one, I started taking pictures all the time, and you guys, we all do. And then I was pretty happy with that. And so then every year they would upgrade the camera, and then I realized, oh my God, you're right. My camera's no good at night. I need to get a better one, a better camera, so it shoots better pictures at night. And lo and behold, it does. And then suddenly they're like, you know what? If you like one camera, what about two cameras? Oh my God, you're right. I need two cameras on my phone. So now I got a zoom camera, I got a lens, I got a wide lens, etc. And I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. And then now they're up to like three cameras on the phone. Oh, okay. So now I guess I got my wide, I guess my normal, and maybe my super zoom or whatever. And the list goes on, but there comes a point to where like it's good enough, guys. I don't need four cameras on a phone. I don't need five cameras on a phone, etc. Now, this is sort of when you got to draw the line in the sand and say, you know what? I'm good with what I've got. I'm not spending any more. Now, and this is sort of why I put it in terms of cameras, because I don't want to ever pretend like I never buy anything and my wife and I, we never go shopping. Like we totally do, but we control ourselves. And unfortunately, though, I think because of again, how the system works, a lot of people don't. I'll be perfectly frank with you guys, advertising is very, very effective. They show people dancing in the street, they show, people going, having fun times, and they're all taking pictures, etc. And you're like, oh my God, I want to have fun times too. And essentially what this system is all about is just to keep you spending money all the time. And then, and talk about in terms of Apple, because we just made a video on that, then Apple can come to their investors, to their shareholders and say, hey, look guys, we released this new product. We told everybody, wow, we got, five cameras on the phone now. And they're all about cameras. We're all about cameras, and their profits go up, and the shareholders are happy, and everybody's smiling, etc. That's kind of the basis of our system. And I want you to be thinking about, okay, how can I profit from said system if that's what it is? So one, control yourself, right? You don't always need the newest thing all the time. And two, take ownership. In this situation, I'm not saying you have to buy Apple stock, but the idea of buying, stock in a company and ownership, because actually most people can't control themselves. Like when they see that fifth camera, they're like, oh my God, I have four cameras, but I really need five, right? That happens to a lot of people. And this is sort of like, because sometimes people ask, why do we, talk about Teslas? Why do we talk about cameras, stuff like that? Because it represents what's going on in the system, and it represents what consumers are thinking. And also, I want you, again, be on the ownership side, necessarily only on the consumer side. So I give you an example of the Tesla one and kind of how laughable this stuff is. And it's kind of like, in order to build wealth, you want to be cheering for the laughable, part of our system, and also controlling yourself from the laughable part of the system. So let me give you an example. In the Tesla situation, they're releasing this robotaxi thing, and I've been noticing a lot of their stock promoters have been saying, hey guys, if you buy the Tesla robotaxi, it's going to save you time. And don't you want to save time? Don't you want a robot taxi? Because look at all the time that you're going to save. And like, oh my God, I'm going to save time. I like saving time the same way I like having, six cameras on my phone. And the thing is, it's funny about this stuff, and the argument they're making for saving time is that, you can play with your phone while your car drives you wherever you want to go or whatever. But the thing, what I find laughable about this thing is like, I actually see it as the opposite of saving time. What do I mean by that? Well, one is this robotaxi and Tesla electric cars, they're actually going to cost a lot more money than your conventional car, right? You can get a cheap conventional car. I don't know what the cheapest cars these days are. Maybe we'll say 15, 16, 17, something in that nature. I think you can get a decent car for under 20, probably under 10, new, probably not. But to be fair, you could totally buy a used car, right? You don't necessarily have to buy a new car. And usually your best deals, you get a car that's like 2 years old, something like that, right? Because once you drive it off the lot, if you buy it new, it like loses, 10, 20% value right away, depending on the model that you got. So there's that, right? One, you're buying an electric car and you're buying from Tesla, and you're paying your premium for that vehicle. And two, when they say that, hey, you're saving time, it's actually not the case because you're paying more money. Now I got to work more, right, to pay off said car. I took a loan out from the bank. I think these days, car loans are like 10% or whatever, something like that. And now I'm in debt, working more to pay off said thing. And I thought I was supposed to be, quote, saving time, right? Do you guys see what I'm saying here? And what I want you to be thinking about is, okay, instead of getting, again, caught up in all the stuff I have to buy all the time, think about how can I take ownership of these types of companies that take advantage of other people who can't control themselves. And I know it sounds kind of mean that, like, we're part of this predatory system in order to get rich, but that's essentially what it is. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean, though, that everything is evil, right? So, for example, when I go out, and I'm just giving an example, when we go out to eat, we go to a restaurant, and we just had a nice dinner a couple days ago. Had some sashimi, which is really, really good. It was actually fantastic. And it was more than what we could eat at home, right? It was totally more than we eat at home. Maybe you could say 2 or 3 times more. But I'm not like hating on the restaurant because they're making profit off of their labor and making profit off of selling me food. I think they offered me a decent value, and I'm okay with that. But here's the thing. We don't go out to eat at the nice, seafood restaurant every day. It's just frankly not practical, right? I think some people do. And in this example, it's not just seafood, but any number of things to where you're spending your money in ways that you don't have to necessarily do every day, right? You're getting that coffee every day, or, every day you're going to the slot machines or whatever. People do that. And these days, the slot machine is on your phone, and like the gambling thing, be it sports betting, or these days election betting, etc. You can actually bet on this stuff all the time, and it's even getting more difficult to basically control yourself. Guys, I know I have a phone because it's like right there in the palm of your hand. There's always something to buy. Like you can go on Amazon at any time. There's always something to buy, or even like your favorite game. Guys, I know I play games on my phone as well, and there's like always some new item I have to buy, and it's like, oh, it's only $2, and it's only $2, it's only $2, and it adds up over time. And the thing that I want you to be thinking about for your own good is like, okay, what if instead I controlled myself, paced myself, and every time I felt like I had to buy something like that and give my money to help someone else build wealth, what if I could build my own wealth, right? And start building up assets. So be it stocks, be it bonds, be it CDs, anything that's going to go up in value, not things that either go down in value or, frankly, well, value is a relative term, but I was going to say, but that video game item is like really cool value, right? I buy that new costume for my character. It was still only $10, and like, look how cool it looks, right? So I'm making a joke here. And I guess what I'm trying to get at, guys, is I'm not against you spending money. I'm not against you enjoying your life, but I want you to do it in ways that are essentially practical and sustainable, okay? If and I use the example of going out to eat, if you're going to go out to eat, do it like once a week. You don't have to do it 4 times a week or whatever, right? Think about how you can save money at home, and then use that extra money that you have instead of going to eat, pay off your mortgage faster, right? Pay off your car loan faster, pay off your credit cards faster. And once you get to the point to where you're completely out of debt, everything changes, because instead of like essentially, banks making money off of you because, they're charging you interest all the time, you're actually doing okay, right? Yes, you're still going to go spend money, guys. You totally are. I totally am. We all are. But you're doing it in a way that you're paying cash for things, and you're in a much different position than you were before. What happens to a lot of people is like they can't control their spending early on. The debt keeps piling up, and you end up paying more for products than what they're worth. And I think that's something that gets a lot of people, right? So, and that's hard to determine, like, what is an iPhone really, really worth? It's like, well, what's it worth to you? But whatever the sticker price is, I don't want to pay above sticker price. And that's what a lot of people do actually when they go in the debt on their credit cards or whatever. to buy said objects. And I know I use phone a lot as an example. That's just one thing, but there are many objects or we'll say things out there, and I'm not calling them assets, right? Because it's something that's like you know there's just too many people that, and it's frustrating to talk about. There's just too many people that actually don't think deeply about this kind of stuff, about how can I build up wealth and otherwise. I think part of it is that if all your friends are doing it, if all your friends are showing up to work with the new car, and guys, it's cool, right? You got a coworker, they got this new car, and like, hey, I got this new car, and everyone goes out in the parking lot, and you go look at the car, and you go, wow, I wish I had such a new car, and you start thinking about, and you start looking at your car, and like, oh man, it's like my coworker just not new car, just got a new car, and we make the same amount of money, and why am I not treating myself to said things, right? Like, guys, I know these conversations that you have with yourself, I really know. But what happens is though, the more wealth that you build up, the more comfortable you are in your life, the easier you can sleep at night. And any kind of, because tragedies happen in life, it just happens. Be it a medical emergency, be it a family member has some sort of thing. And I'll just give you an example. Actually, my wife's mom called last night. Her dad, because her dad's getting old, is having more medical things, and so we probably have to assist with that. I'm just telling you how it is. And so they had this long conversation about last night, and I'm okay, right? I'm not stressing out about this stuff because we're not overextended. And that's something that, and this is just practicality, as you get older, you will find that there are a lot of people out there that you're probably going to have to take care of. That's just how it is. And I share this stuff with you guys because I want you to understand that it hits more closer to home when you see it with other people. You wish that other people would take care of themselves, right? And you try your best to, how can I say, instill that into other people, but for some people they simply can't. I can tell you any number of issues of people that I know that financially they're not sound, and it's really unfortunate. But again, this goes back to the system. And I think a lot of it, just talking more personally, I think a lot of it is psychological, to where like someone doesn't feel adequate if they, don't show off their money all of the time. I've found that it's kind of funny, and for people who, when you go up the economic scale, you may meet them for coffee or dinner or whatever, and they're just like wearing some old T-shirt for like 10 years ago, but they don't care what people think, right? Like what does it matter? What what shirt you're wearing or whatever. What really matters is how well you treat people, how respectful you are you showing up at time, and are you taking care of other things that matter to you, be it the people, and your loved ones, that kind of stuff, and also too, are you sleeping well at night? So yeah, I know we talk about a lot of this kind of stuff on this channel, but I want you to be just thinking about in your life, how can you manage your finances and manage yourself to where you're going to be fine no matter what happens. I think for a lot of people, they get really overextended, and then if any kind of emergency kind of thing happens, then you're kind of stuck because you didn't plan. So hopefully this is helpful and useful for you. I want you guys to be thinking about how can you profit off, frankly, other people's mistakes. And I know it sounds kind of mean in that way, but that's just how our system works. That's just how it works. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.